Hey guys, welcome to the live stream. Sorry we're actually starting like 2 hours early, so nobody can really get that mad, can they? But I was having camera difficulties and I had to restart the computer, but everything's good to go now. I just had a hiccup or a burp or something, and we're ready to rock. So today we're going to be turning up some of these hemp wood blanks. I stabilized some. I have one that's not stabilized or anything, got some dye in some of them. But I saw this stuff. Here's a piece of it. It's basically kind of like plywood in a sense. It's flat, dimensional wood. Saw this at the SoCal Pen Turners gathering, and I thought all the patterns looked pretty interesting. Maybe it'll take dye pretty well. So I stabilized some, put some color in some, and I want to do tests. Everything that I've heard from pretty much everybody at this point that has tried these says that they're pretty difficult to turn. They kind of break apart, they're crumbly. And so what I've done so far, I got them all ready. They're all prepped, tubed, ready to turn. So I cut them. It cut fine. There's a little bit of chippiness on the edges that I noticed, but not a big deal. Then drilling them was kind of horrible. So most of them actually cracked in half. Now I made it through, but you can see on the side of this one, hopefully that'll get my face out of the way. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a big line of glue where I had to re-glue a lot of them, like half of them cracked. Didn't shatter and blow apart, but they did kind of split. So that was interesting. So I glued them back together, and I got, basically none of them were wasted. We have all of them, but I'm not sure how this is going to go. We'll have to see how they turn at this point. I used a barrel trimmer on all of these, and nothing happened there. So that actually gave me a little bit of hope. So I don't know how this is going to go, but I got a bunch of them. These are, let me just go through this. So the first one that I want to turn is the one that's not stabilized at all. I want us to just see how, out of the box, how does this stuff, turn and operate. Then the next one is, let's see here. Then the next one is just a blue dye stabilized blank. It's a Sierra. So I'm going to be kind of going through these fairly fast, and we're not going to really focus on sanding and finishing all these things. I want to see how they turn. Because if they are just nothing but problems, then who cares if you can finish it, I want to see how they actually turn, if we can get through them basically first. So I'm going to do some tests. Another thing that I did with this is I tried a couple different glues. So a lot of people, you guys have probably seen my video on how I glue tubes in pen blanks. And I use CA glue, thin CA on the inside, and then thick CA on the tube, and then put them in. But that really kind of more applies to acrylics, your resin blanks, Alumilite, epoxy. And then, stabilized woods, which is a little bit different. There's no moisture in stabilized wood. I don't use that thin CA stuff on just regular wood that has some moisture in it, that's just at equilibrium. It's going to just flash the minute that you put it in there. It's going to, cure immediately, because water cures CA glue. So I don't do it that way. So I decided to try a couple different things. I basically had one blank that I cut off the end of this. So we got two blanks out of it. And this stuff has not been dried out or anything like that. So I used epoxy on one of them, and then I also pulled out I have that Gorilla Glue, and just tried that. And I actually used that on a few different blanks. I just wanted to kind of play around with it, see, how it worked. I don't know if that's going to help or hinder or do anything, but we have a few different things, the different ways that I glued the blank or the tubes in on these guys. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how all this goes. I think if this material is difficult, then that gluing method, all that stuff doesn't even matter. It's not going to make any difference if the material just doesn't play fair. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing good today. It's kind of a crazy day. I needed to start early today because my truck's in the shop and I don't want to run up to late in the day. I want to be able to kind of get this done before I need to go and hopefully pick up my truck. So anyway, decided to do it a little bit early and see how everything went. So we got a lot of people here. Franklin's here, and Jeff, and Dominic's here, Brad, lots of people. Eric's here. Nice. How's it going, Eric? And Josh is here. Paul, Amber, All right, lots of people. And Kirsten too. How's it going? All right, guys, so let's switch views and get going on this thing. That's the wrong one. There we go. So down in the bottom corner is the area, full area blank or camera. Let's see, where is it? I'm trying to figure out how to point to it. Down there, somewhere, is the work area view. I have the camera angled this way because this stuff, I don't know if I'm somewhat allergic to the dust or the hemp wood or the stabilized fine particles, but I've been having allergies the last few days, so I have the dust collector right up in charge there. It's going to be running the whole time. So I don't want to continue having allergies anymore. So I'm going to get rid of as much dust as possible with the dust collector. And so this one that's on the lathe right now, I glued it with epoxy. It's a non-stabilized. I didn't do anything. I did have to glue this one back together. You can see a line of glue there. So it cracked when I drilled it. Now, actually, let me stop real quick before I even move on to turning this. I want to talk about a couple little things. So I had 0 problems on the first one that I drilled. But I was using a drill bit that has a slightly more angled point on it. I think it's something like a 90 or 100 degrees. And I don't know if that helped or if that really didn't matter. But that was it just happens that that's the 10 millimeter drill bit that I have. Then I switched I bought a nice set of these kind of, I don't know what they're called, like cryogenically treated, who knows what. They're Viking drill bits. They work really well, but the problem is this is my 27/64. Most of these are Sierras, and you drill with a 27/64. And then I have one Cigar pen that's a 10 millimeter. And this was the one I drilled first and had no problems at all with that one. Like I said, I don't know if that was because of the drill bit point or the 27/64 that I usually use. I think this thing's pretty dull. It probably needs touching up. I've been using it for a while. So I got cracking pretty much every time I used that. But I had, at some point, I bought one of these fish. Let me get the little fish. I forget what they call these, parabolic flute drills. And they're supposed to be good for keeping heat down and drilling for pen blanks and drilling in acrylics and stuff. And this thing worked pretty well. I didn't have too many problems with that. But I still did get, I think a couple of them did crack, even with that one. So just wanted to mention that I did do some, I don't know, tried everything that I could, but these things were kind of problematic either way. All right, so let's get going here. I'm going to start out with my 1/2-inch spindle gouge to knock the corners down. And I got to get my phone out so I can see the chat over here. Let me see if anybody said anything. It'd be easier for me just to look over here real quick. The dog pen. Nice, that's cool. Welcome to the stream, Paul. Someone needs a Red Bull? I don't need a Red Bull. I don't like Red Bulls. Let's see here. Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it, Paul. Sweet. And Kirsten likes the honeycomb pen blanks. Sweet. I like those. Yeah, I'm sure it is a little bit better for everybody that's on the other side of the pond. Cool. Okay, so I didn't really miss a whole lot. Unfortunately, I can't really, this doesn't really work for my schedule. I need to get work done earlier, and that needs to get done first usually, but because of the weird things, plus there's some weird things going on with this. This isn't a normal, my normal like one project or casting. We're going to be doing a few things, so I really kind of wanted to get going a little bit early so that, because my truck's in the shop, I need to make sure that I can get back, pick it up and not be doing a live stream when they call. So, okay, let's get this thing going. Like I said, it's non-stabilized. I didn't touch this at all. I think I'm gonna put a face mask on. It's a good thing I had the face mask on. That one smacked me right in the face. Oh man. Yikes. Well, pretty chippy stuff, guys. Like I said, this is not stabilized or treated in any way, and I haven't even hit it with CA glue or anything. Just want to kind of play with it. I got another blank that wasn't treated at all also. I think I'm gonna, I gotta get away from this dust collector. It's so loud, I'm yelling at you guys. I think what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go without treating this, without CA or anything like that, and just see if we can get through it. And then on the other one that's not treated at all, I think I'm gonna hit it with CA glue to start off and see if that changes the game. Thing is, I know this tool was sharp. I haven't used it much, but I'm gonna just touch it up just to make sure that I'm giving this all totally fair, a fair run. It's starting to tame itself a little bit. We had that big chunk, kind of a big chunk fly off, but I think I'm actually, it's tough. I want to get a better, closer shot for you guys, but I guess this is not too bad. It's looking okay. Let me zoom back in and I'll spin it around a little bit. Got that big chunk tore out right there. Everything else seems to be okay. These are definitely gonna be challenging, I think, you know. Gonna have to kind of take some care in turning this material. But again, this wasn't treated at all, so stabilized might be a lot easier. We're almost round from end to end. I think this stuff is pretty abrasive. I think it's kind of abrasive stuff. I noticed that when I wasn't sure if it was the cactus juice or the material, but I think it's kind of wearing on my tool edge a decent amount. So I'm going to go back to the, where's my thing? I'm going to go back to the grinder and keep touching this thing up. You definitely, you know, you want sharp tools no matter what, or else you're going to get bad results. I think we'll switch to carbide eventually. I just want to kind of get everything totally round first. All right, so still hanging in there, still salvageable. And again, I haven't even hit this with CA glue or anything. We're going through it and seeing how everything works. So I think at this point, I'm gonna switch to, and I don't think you need a negative rake cutter for this type of thing. I don't really think that it's gonna help much. You probably could use one. So I mean, let's see what it does. But I think that you're better off using a regular cutter for this kind of thing. So this one's a negative rake. And I mean, it cuts it, but the regular cutters are better for just straight wood. So I'm going to switch it out really quickly here. Oh, where's my nozzle? Lost my nozzle. There we go. Man, I haven't used a normal cutter in forever. I need to get some more cutters too. They're all kind of getting a little bit older. Let's see here. Where are my regular? I gotta have a regular one around here somewhere. There's one. Now, something that I don't usually do that might be useful, some people get good results doing it, is to take angle your cutter in a shear cut. I don't really like doing that because it tends to be a little bit harder to control. I just haven't practiced with it. But some people do like doing that. Definitely kind of chunky. All right, so I would say that not stabilizing it, you're really not going to get good results with this stuff. I don't think we need to do any more testing to find that out. So, but like I said, we haven't done anything to it yet. So let's hit it with some CA glue real quick and see if that stiffens things up a little bit and makes things go a little bit easier. So I got my super fast thin, and I'm just gonna douse the heck out of this thing. Again, non-stabilized. Just cut it off the sheet. So let me stop and see what you guys have to say. At least it wasn't too bad. I mean, really, it was all right. Yeah, pretty dense stuff. You could always smoke it. Yeah, one thing you could do is just sand. That would make it a little bit easier, I think, but all right, so I'm just gonna keep doing that. Surprised that didn't dry up. I got some CA glue on my bed. We don't want that. All right, so that's fairly hard at this point. Let's go back to the regular cutter. Top surface was okay, but still getting a few kind of chippy things down below. So I'm gonna give it another round of CA. Maybe not douse it as much because I don't think it's really penetrating that far in. Just give it a little bit. We're still in the game on this one, though. There's still hope. Dang. How bad was that? Might be able to get through it. Pretty chippy. Pretty chippy stuff. I'm anxious to see what the stabilized ones do. They definitely felt more kind of rigid, stronger, just as a blank. And they took the cactus juice pretty well. All right, well, the ends haven't blown out, that is critical. Still probably get through the center. Let me switch back over to a negative rake and just see if that changes anything. Typically, I don't really think that for not stabilized wood, for most woods in general, your regular cutters typically cut better. But the negative rake cutters are less aggressive. So, in this case, maybe it'll kind of help out. I don't know. Oh, my phone shut off. Okay. That was cutting pretty good, actually. Oh, I lost my cap. Might be able to get through this. Let's see here. Very close. We've almost removed the catch. The rest of it's looking okay. You guys see that? Just about got rid of that. I think we can actually finish this one. All right, so before I say one more cut, you guys know what always happens with one more pass. I'm gonna hit it with some CA since we've done quite well up to this point. And it seems like the negative rate cutter, I don't know exactly what's going on, but it seems to be doing a little bit better. I was getting more chips with the regular one, but I don't know if that's indicative of anything really. So let me just douse this again. Luckily, the ends didn't break apart at all. We didn't get a big chip on either of the ends. That's usually where, you know, a lot of problems happen with pen turning. All right, so gluing this paper towel to my finger, but let me turn my phone back on, see what you guys have to say about this. Mark, how's it going? Veteran move, yes. We're doing okay. We're doing okay. I always have the CA glue handy. All right, so I like to just hit it with the accelerator just to make sure that there's nothing on the surface flying around, smacking me in the eyeballs. All right, so let's give it a shot here. I think we might be able to get through it. It's just about that little catch tear out is almost gone. Just gotta take it down just a little bit more. And I may get to the point where I'm just like, let's just sand it out. Because I would say, because at this point, if I just sand it, we will get through it. But I want to take a little bit more. I'm doing what I said I wouldn't do. One more pass. All right, that's as far as I'm going to go. I think we can get through it. We are going to have to start sanding way low though. So I'm going to pull out 120 grit so that it hopefully will go relatively fast. The other thing is this stuff, again, because it's so kind of abrasive hard, probably gonna that's probably going to require us to start sanding a little bit lower than what I would sometimes do with acrylics. Here's my 120. There it is. I don't use 120 that often. Let me get this thing even closer here. my phone keeps shutting down? Oh, because I'm not playing the video. Jeez. All right, so we're still going. Everything's good. Yeah, I kind of did notice that the dust was pretty fine. Problem is, half of them were stabilized, and so it's not like there's only two blanks, two separate blanks that were not stabilized. Almost got it out. It's pretty abrasive though, the sandpaper. There's also probably still some CA glue that seeped down in. There we go, we're getting there. Just about got those little spots out. All right. Well, that was successful. Let me get you guys in front of this thing. Oh, I got plugs and things. Shoot. Hold on. Gotta unplug the camera. There we go. So I'm going to pull this thing over here, give you guys a frontal view. What this thing's looking like. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. Interesting, definitely. Cool patterns. All right, so like I said, I don't really want to sit and like finish all of these pens today. What I'm interested in is the turning. I want to see how they turn. So at this point, what I would do is we would go up and sand up to, I'm not entirely sure. I got to be honest, I haven't turned a wooden pen for so long that I don't even know what I would do. Probably sand it up to like 400 or 600, I guess. You could put a finish on this. You could probably put like, linseed oil, just like an oil kind of finish, wax. This would probably be this is where I would use something like a Yorkshire grit, possibly. I don't mind that stuff on woods, just untreated woods. That stuff, it'll bring out some luster. But this is a little bit different product, so I don't exactly even know, what the best finish methods are. You could always put a CA finish on top. You could use a urethane. You could use lacquer, lots of different things. Feels like my bushings are kind of stuck, so that ain't good. Okay, we're all right. Okay. Whew. After all that, it would have sucked to like crack the end because the bushings got glued on. That would have been the worst. We made it through, but it still broke. All right, so the next one, let me make sure I'm on camera here, is a dye stabilized one. This is going to be the Cigar. I use CA glue to do the, glue the tubes in. But it's got some pretty cool colors in this blank. It got a lot of different things. So I'm kind of hoping this thing is friendly to me. So this is, again, dye stabilized with cactus juice. Let's go for it. Let's see how stabilizing changes things. I'm pretty sure it's going to turn better than the non-stabilized. I don't know how it could, how it wouldn't do that. Because they're definitely, you can feel they're firmer, they're, a little bit stronger, just feeling the blank. So, yeah, the green, hopefully it'll look good. I don't know. Let's see here. Okay, so we're good to go. I'm gonna touch up my my gouge again. I like to just knock the corners down with a gouge. It's a little bit easier for me. You could definitely just use, a rougher, easy rougher to do that. I don't really like scraping square blanks off the edges like that, personally. Okay, face mask back on. It saved me already once. That one chip got me doing dink. I can hear it dink onto the face mask. All right, got our dust collector on. How's you guys' view? Let's see if I can get you guys in a little bit better. Tighter view, maybe. Okay. Well, that went a lot better. Oh, there's a chip. I was rushing it. It was just a minor chip though. Not even any damage. But again, the density and the abrasiveness of this, I mean, it's heating up the gouge, which also means that I need to touch it up again. So we're pretty close to round at this point. I'm going to switch to the carbide just because I don't have to keep sharpening that. But one thing I want to do, just want to look at this and make sure that I've got a good fresh edge on this thing. Tempted to pull another one out if I have one, but I don't think I have a new one. Of the negative rake. So That looks like a fresh edge though right there. This was a pretty new cutter, but I have used it on a couple things. So, scoot this back. Give me some room here. I mean, that's turning pretty good. Not really having any problems so far. The negative rate cutters work a little bit better on stabilized wood than just normal wood. So it's doing pretty good on this. I can't complain so far. Good old cactus juice. It'll tame the wildest woods. Let's get you guys a zoom. This blank's looking pretty wicked. So I don't exactly know. I just stabilized a bunch of different stuff. Did a bunch of different types of ways. But I think what I did on this was just kind of stuck it in a few different cups without baking beforehand, you know. That's the way that I do it. I usually do the first step, which we call it double dye stabilizing, but really it should probably just be called multiple. But the first step, I don't, do full vacuum. I just let it soak up some colors. And I think I just did that in a few different colors here. We got some purple, some pink. There's some yellow in here, I believe. Some blue, turquoise. I mean, it's like almost rainbow. So it's looking pretty good. I don't know. All right. Oops. That's not what I wanted. Okay. Looks like everybody's hanging in there, having fun. Whoa! Okay. That ought to be good. I think I'm going to turn my little fan on behind me too. That just kind of blows any dust that gets away from the collector the other way. Okay, so again, negative rake seems to be doing good. And I think that I might have, this fresh edge is doing even better. I don't know if it would have done better on the other blank or not, but it's doing pretty good on this stabilized one. Yeah, of course the stream's still going. We haven't been doing it that long, man. I did knock out one pen though. Barely made it through the one that wasn't stabilized. So again, this one, most of these are all going to be Sierra style pens. They're just kind of cheap and easy to make in single blank. But this one is actually two-part pen, so a Cigar. It was the most colorful. I thought, let's give it a shot. Hopefully we'll make it through. And so we got this is the front end of that, like the nib section, and this is the clip section that we'll turn next. But like I said, I mean, it's looking, so far, everything's turning fine on this. I have no complaints here. I'm taking my mask off. I don't really think it's going to smack me in the face. I think one thing that'll be nice about this Cigar style pen, I think what I'm going to do is just treat it with, I do have some Yorkshire grit or something like that, like just give it that kind of a, you know, a waxy oil finish on half and then put CA on the other one. That'll give you kind of a good look at some different, you know, finishes on this stuff. You could probably buff it, you know, also. That's another way to go with it, probably. But I mean, we're good to go. That thing's done. Give you guys a front view. That turned quite well. So let's do some sanding on this one. Because I do want to finish something, and since this thing turned out pretty good so far, let's just take the time to sand it up, and we'll do a few more tests with these other blanks. Most of the blanks that I have to turn here are stabilized. It made sense. I wanted to put color into most of these things, but I did want to just see, you know, how does this stuff work without any treatment, and it's a little bit more difficult, obviously, but we got a few more blanks to turn. What time is it? 2:30? We're good to go on time, so I think I'm going to just start at 120 again. This stuff's pretty hard. Oh, turn the speed down a little bit. So it's not like, you know, a lot of you know, just regular hardwoods or acrylics, even resin blanks. You know, 120 grit is going to shape the heck out of it, but I mean, this thing, it's not, 120 grit really isn't doing a lot of sanding. It takes a little bit longer, I'm finding. Again, because of that hardness of the material, plus it's stabilized on top of that. But I would definitely say that stabilizing this stuff tames it quite a bit. If you're just joining the fun, though, I did mention, I'm going to turn this thing off so I'm not yelling. I did have some issues drilling these, even the stabilized ones. Most of them did kind of crack a bit, and I had to kind of glue them back together. I salvaged all of them. Where are all the rest of the blanks? But that was kind of a little bit, you know, sketchy. I think I'd say half of them cracked. So you can see I had to kind of glue them back together. However, I used, and a lot of people probably think that I'm nuts, but I used a barrel trimmer and that went fine. You know, there was no problems. It was very tough. I had to resharpen that thing quite a bit, like 3 or 4 times. But, you know, I didn't have any problems barrel trimming these things. The problem was drilling, and then the unstabilized was a little bit chippy. Well, quite a bit chippy, I would say, when turning. So, just to get everybody kind of caught up on what is happening here. But this one turned pretty well. It's looking good, I think. And we got a few more tests to go, but if the second half of this cigar pen and the next one that I turn goes the same way, then I would have to say that stabilized hemp wood is totally viable for turning. All right, so 120, we're gonna go up to 180. Just keep going up through the grits, getting it a little bit nicer and a little bit nicer, a little finer. I think we can probably stop around 600, then I'm gonna hit it with one of those, with a little bit of Yorkshire grit, I think, and just kind of see what happens. Do not really like using any of those pastes, like Yorkshire grit on resin. I think on wood, it's a good product. It's a good option. Stabilized wood, I don't know. We'll have to see, but I haven't really. I'm actually kind of using this as a chance to test it out, because I really don't just turn stabilized wood or any, most of the things that I do are a mixture of wood and resin. And so, like I said, I don't really want those waxes on my resin pieces. It's just not my favorite thing. So this will give me a good chance to try something out. Did I just do the wrong one? I just did the wrong one, guys. I don't need 180, I need 240. Cutting the wrong sandpaper. All right, 240 grit. I'm using Abrasiveness. These may need more on each grit. I don't know. It's feeling pretty good though, so I think we're okay. Spending more time sanding might produce slightly better results. I'm not sure. All right, so up to 400 grit. And a little bit of 600, and then we'll switch to some Yorkshire grit. Give it a shot. Where's Jamie Page at? He's gonna flip. He's gonna flip out when he's like, oh my God, you used Yorkshire grit? What? It is true. Okay. Let's try this Yorkshire grit stuff out. See what happens. I don't even know how to use this stuff. You can just wipe it on a little bit and then let it rub. If anybody has any better instructions on this, let me know and let others know. So now I can turn this stupid thing off. God, really wish I could plug into my dust collection system that's outside the shop, not sitting right next to me. But so I think all you do is just kind of rub it on and then let it work itself in there. Yeah, I wouldn't use this on something I'm going to put a CA finish on. I only would use this on something that's totally wood. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like any of these kind of pastes. I reserve the right to put a CA finish on at any time, and you got to get rid of the oils and waxes before you do that if you want to put a top coat finish on something. I have no clue if I did this right, but it isn't looking bad. That's looking pretty good, I think. So I'd say that, and I've said this for a long time. It's a different story if you're talking wood. I've used Yorkshire grit and what's the other one? The Hampshire sheen. Back in the day over at Jimmy Cluse's shop. I was very impressed with that on just a wood bowl that I turned at his shop. I just don't really like it on plastics. That's looking pretty good. I mean, you could go with CA, I guess, but I mean, it is actually quite glossy. I don't know. Let's get the other one going here. I'm happy with this. I'm not sure that a CA finish would look really that much better. Not that CA finishes are hard or difficult necessarily, but it's a lot easier just to rub some wax and oil on. Okay, so I need to find my CA glue cap that fell real quick. Think. Huh. Well, fine. It's hiding from me. I think I might have another cap. Be that way. I got another cap. Okay, so switch this out. Yeah. What do you guys think of that? And I wanted to show you guys the kit that I picked out as well, Where did I put that? I thought this was perfect for this blank. Where did I put the kit? The oil spill. Oh, focus. Have you guys seen this oil spill kit? I can't see what I'm doing. Let me get behind the camera. The kind of crazy oil spill looking parts. I thought that was perfect for this blank. It all will match. Okay, so there's that one. Let's get the other one going here. Here is the, and hopefully I did the bushings right this time. Sometimes I get them, oh, whoa, I totally missed the hole. Sometimes I get the bushings backwards. I think I did okay this time though. All right, so let me stop and see what is happening here. Pilot drill. I actually did that. I don't exactly know if this is called pilot drilling. I use a center drill. I did use this on a lot of them. And I went in, you know, yay far. Come on, focus. Let me zoom out. I think I'm zoomed way in. There. So I did use this on some of them, and it seemed to work a little better. I don't know if that's what you mean, or if you meant like just drilling a small hole deeper through. I've never really done that. Yeah, that kit, I've been trying to get that kit in use on something for a long time. A lot of the things that I've wanted to use it for, there were so many colors that were not the same that I just couldn't do it. Yeah, you could buff that a little bit. I mean, to be honest, it's fine. It's looking pretty darn good. But yeah, you could buff it as well. Maybe we will. I don't know. Okay, so let me get my dust collector in here. Let me see what I'm doing. Make sure you guys got a view of what's going on. I'm going to zoom you in a little bit just in case there is some pandemonium that takes place. And I'm going to put the face mask on to start just because it has a lot more likelihood of chipping apart when it's square. And we're going to use the gouge to begin again. So I'm going to touch that up real quick. We're looking good. Got the corners knocked down. So far so good, no problems at all. I'm gonna get rid of the face mask. I'm starting to trust this stuff. Whoa, whoa, sorry. Ah, there we go. It's looking good. I mean, that's going quite well. Zooming through this one. We're getting there. Still just got a little bit on this end to take off. I think that should be good. Maybe just one more. I'm gonna say it again, just one more pass. Famous last words, guys. All right. do a little bit of sanding. That went pretty well. I'm eager to try some other ones here. So on this half, I'm going to put a CA finish on it. And we'll see what the difference is between that, just a Yorkshire grit finish and a CA. I'm sure, you know, if you like that kind of glossy, you know, CA finish look, it's probably going to look a little better, but I think for pretty quick and easy, just using some sort of an oil type thing, it's probably a pretty simple, easy way to go on this. In fact, I think I want to take that non-stabilized piece and just see what it looks like with a little bit of that on there. All right, 180, and we don't have to take it up as high since we're putting a finish on. I'm probably only going to take it up to about 600 maybe. Probably stop at 220, 240. I don't think you would see any scratches or anything like that because there's so much going on with the grain. But not a bad idea to go up a little higher. Just to make sure. Turn off. There we go. So I would kind of say that the grain is going that way. It's not exactly the typical grain of normal wood, but not a bad idea to just sand with it at the end of each one, each grit. All right. .240 grit. For CA finishes, technically you could use anything. I like the Mercury Thin Flex myself. I think it has more to do with the viscosity, the working time. I would recommend going with a brand. I think Starbond's a good brand. I use their stuff quite a bit. I don't like their stuff for finishing. I like the Mercury. Easy Bond, Stick Fast has some. I don't know that I would recommend just using whatever, like the Crazy Glue brand stuff. But technically, I mean, it's all kind of the same stuff. Bob Smith Industries is a good one. I don't know. I haven't really seen a huge difference. They all kind of do the same thing. I just do like the way that the Mercury Thin Flex works for me. I can get it on smoothly. It's very clear. So I just kind of stick with that for when I'm putting an actual finish on, but I think it's kind of everybody's got their own. And a lot of it just has to do with what you get the best results with. And that's kind of how most things are. How's it going, Christina? Yeah, I started a little bit early today. I have my truck in the shop, and I need to, I didn't want to be running things way late. And I knew that we had a bit of stuff to do. Probably not going to turn all these pin, well, I'm not going to be able to turn all the pin blanks that I made. And if you know, the next one, I got the next one lined up is going to be a stabilized one. And if it turns as well as these two did, then I think that we've kind of put that argument to rest. I have heard that other people have had issues turning stabilized even hemp wood, but I don't know. I'm certainly not having any problems with these so far. Where did my 600 grit go? Losing my sandpaper, guys. Losing my sandpaper. It's all going downhill. Huh. Fine. I'll just cut a new piece off. Oh, maybe it fell on the ground. Nope, I don't know. Probably could have stopped at 400, but we'll just give it a couple seconds with the 600, and then we'll put our CA finish on, and we'll be good to go. Looking good. You didn't get any notification? Oh man. I don't know what their deal is. How do they expect to get people watching if they don't tell people things are on? All right. Scoot that back for now. Turn off the dust collector. Oh, I can hear myself think again. And let's start putting our CA finish on. The surface is pretty, oh man, it's pretty, there's really no pits that I can feel. So I think this is actually going to be a pretty simple CA finish. Sometimes if there's, you know, a bunch of pits and things in the surface, it might be better to use some sort of a sealer. You can probably use a sanding sealer, I'm guessing. I don't know. I haven't really messed with that myself. I usually just kind of fill the surface with CA glue, but I think in this case it's pretty solid surface there. How to avoid getting one mixed ugly color when dye stabilizing. Don't use that color? Am I missing something? I don't know. Are you talking about like because they bleed together? Is that what you're saying? You want to lock in the first color. You bake, you soak it, then bake it. I got a video on how I do my multi-dye stabilizing if you want to check that out. How do I order my 80 pounds? Yeah, there's like a little nozzle thing. You just order it from you can just order it from Turntex on their website. But Alumilite has it as well. If you're ordering from Alumilite, you got to call Carol and put your order in that way. But I think they're going to be changing that where, because that was my problem. That's why I don't really. That's one. Well, not why, but it's one of the reasons I don't buy direct from Alumilite anymore, because it was a pain to order. So I told them that. So I think they may be trying to allow you to just order stuff online soon. I need to actually call them sometime. find out if that's happening or what. The last time I talked to him was before this whole outbreak thing, lockdown, so I'm not sure what exactly is going on over there right now. They should be fixing that. And you can order it from Turner's Warehouse as well. Lots of ways. I think you might have to call Chad to order it from him. Not entirely sure. Yeah, well, I mean, really, I actually will just stick it in a bunch of different colors. I don't really care if they bleed, but I've never had a color that just looks terrible doing it that way, and I'm careful, you know. I have a feeling what you did might have been put it under vacuum in one color and then take it out of there and then put it under vacuum in another color. That will leave you with some probably terrible results. I've never done that or heard of anybody doing it, but that would not work too well. But all I do is just let it soak up dyed cactus juice, and you can use lots of different colors and it still looks fine. Even if they bleed together, it's just kind of the rainbow effect. But I have a video that'll kind of show you what I do, and then another good video is Casey Martin's. He's got a good dye stabilizing video. All right, this was such like a solid surface that it went on pretty smooth, and I don't really know that I need to put a ton of layers of coats on. So I think I'm just gonna hit this with some 400 grit, take a look at it, and then maybe put a couple more coats on. I don't know. I don't know if it's even necessary, really. Let me just see how this looks. Thing is, I don't want to sand it off, you know. If you sand it all off, you're screwed. But yeah, so it's not going on as smooth as I thought it was. So I'm going to do a little sanding. We'll put a few more coats on. We'll be good to go. So we're making a cigar style pen here. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. Let me just give it 2 more seconds here. There we go. Put on a couple, we'll put 3 more coats on. I think that ought to be good. I usually don't load up a ton of coats. It's just not really necessary usually. Okay, so one coat. There we go. Yeah, that's a good point. Soots. For casting too, best thing to do is get a color wheel, so you kind of know what colors look good together, which ones don't really. But you're usually pretty good to go. You know, with a lot of the good colors that work pretty well for dye stabilizing that you see a lot. Red is probably everybody's, like, that's probably one of the most used. The greens can be okay. The blues, red and blue are probably 2 of the most popular that I see a lot. The gold and the yellows look pretty good. It just kind of depends, but yeah. Give it a shot. Give it a shot and try it. Give it one more try. Maybe a slightly different way of doing it. I think it'll be pretty easy for you. Okay, so we got about 7 coats of CA on here. I'm going to call that good. I think it's fine. So once again, I'm going to do a little sanding with 400 grit. This is just to smooth out any ridges. And we'll move up to our polishing papers. A few more ridges here. Okay. Now we'll wet sand. We will be on our, I think I'm just gonna, I think we're good here. Get my water jug out. And we'll move on to the Zona polishing papers. I like to put gloves on when I'm wet sanding. It just tend to get less dried out fingers and stuff. Yeah, if it doesn't work, blame me. I'm down with that. So this one's around, I think this green is the lowest grit with the Zona papers. And I got links to all this stuff on my website on the tools I use page. I think it's around 750 grit. I tried to kind of convert the micron level. It doesn't say what grit level it is. Kind of converting from microns to some comparable grit number in the P scale. I think green's about 750. I want to say gray's somewhere around 1150. And then blue's probably something like 2000 maybe. I don't know. Either way, I stop at gray, sometimes blue. Depends on how I feel. Then we go over to the buffing wheels and finish everything up over there. Okay. And we'll do a little bit of blue just for the heck of it. Why not, you know? Okay, calling that good. Let's dry it off. Nancy's here. What's up? Oh, was that Nancy asking about that? Wait a minute. Oh, okay. It was Nancy. Sorry about that. Wasn't looking so hard at who asked that question. All right. So, and then what I do after, because I had CA glue on the ends of that, I use this is the only reason to have a pen mandrel around. I like to, I don't know if I can get on camera here. I like to square up the ends with my pen mandrel. I don't use them for anything else. So I just got a little bit of 220 grit paper. Use a hole punch. It's actually the perfect size for your 7mm mandrel. Whoa, I almost dropped it. Whoa. That could have been dangerous. Luckily, I have a rubber mat below me. I think I really want to zoom. Whoa, wrong way. There we go. Let's zoom it out a little bit. This just makes sure that if there's any CA that's kind of hanging off the edge, it's not going to be what happens is if there is stuff that's hanging off the edge, the CA finish, when you go to press your parts together, it's going to crack your finish. And that ain't fun. You made it all the way through everything, and then you crack the finish when you're assembling it. That will make you mad. Okay, so let's get this thing buffed, and I think we'll buff the other edge, the other side as well, just for the heck of it. Spin you guys around here. Kind of see what I'm doing over in the corner there. Got to remember. So just so a little mental note, the front end of this pen is not CA finished. It's the Yorkshire only. All right, so start with a little bit of triple E. Okay, and then move over to the white diamond. Let's just give it a little bit of a touch up there. Not much. Flip it around. This is the white diamond wheel, by the way. I don't know if I said that already. It's the rouge that I'm using on it. And I guess I could switch over the lathe. I also like to finish up now with a little bit of automotive polish. Seems to be not a bad way to go. I don't want to get my finger oils all over this thing. I'll set that one aside for now. We'll go back to the triple E with this one. This is again the Yorkshire grit. Not sure if that really did a whole lot, but We did it either way. Okay, so I'm going to switch the lathe over, do a little bit of automotive polish. My wheel works on this lathe for the automotive polish. That's all. My setup for it. Let's get you guys back around here. Oh, I'm caught on things. Okay. Take out our live center. Thanks, Curtis. Have a good one, man. I appreciate it. Get our bushings out of the way. Get our CA stuff out of the way. Okay, so we got our tapered mandrel. We got a string buff is what this is called, and this is good for super high grit polishes like car polish. It's a little bit, it's the softest wheel that I could find, and then I'm using Meguiar's 105. Just seems to do the trick for me. I'd imagine that any car polish or plastic polish could be used for this step. And I've tried a few different ones, but this stuff works the best for me. It seemed, so just kind of stuck with it. All right, now, and what I do, a lot of it might have to do with my technique. I just wipe it on using a rag and then buff it with the buffing wheel. And it seems to produce some pretty good results. Looking good. So that's the CA finish one. Put that down. See if our car polish does anything to the Yorkshire grit one. Might give it a little bit of oomph. Who knows? Let me put a little bit more on here. Just spilled it all over the place. That's okay. Little car polish on the shoes never hurt anybody. Definitely not the same shine, but it looks pretty good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's definitely not as shiny as the other one. I like it though. I mean, it's, again, for simple, it looks fine. And for people that want the more tactile, how does it feel kind of thing, closer to the wood, you know, I would probably just go with some sort of an oil finish top coat, not top coat, you know, some sort of an oil or something like that that's not going to, you know, put a piece of plastic basically over the wood. I have a feeling that a lot of people that would be down with a hemp wood pen probably don't necessarily want a plastic finish on top. Just a gut feeling. All right, so let me get the Let me get the buffing wheel off of the lathe real quick because we're gonna switch gears. I'm gonna assemble the pen because I really want to see how this thing turns out. I think it's a good looking pen. Very happy with it, but I do want to do some more testing. So we're gonna have to set the lathe back up and should be able to get one more blank turned at least. So let's see here. Let's see if I can get you guys kind of very excited. I think I'm going to be buying a new drill press. This thing just, I don't like it. So that will be fun. I want one that's a little bit more rock solid about everything. Less run out and all that stuff. I tried to get this fixed. This is actually a really cool drill press, but we took the quill apart, we put new bearings in, we did everything, and I have no clue. There's still run out, and I'm done kind of thing. So we'll have to see what I end up getting. All right, so the way that I do this, I have a little piece that goes in the chuck, and I think I'm gonna have to raise the table up a little bit. And I like to put a little piece of wood down underneath. I think a little higher. All right, so let's go get the kit. Can you guys see what's going on? It looks like you can kind of see. Kind of zoom it in a little bit maybe. Get you guys over there. There, that looks pretty good. I'm not going to move that light this time. The lighting's not amazing, but you guys can kind of see what I'm doing, I think. Actually, the lighting's not too bad. The camera's doing a good job over there. Nice. So real quick, I'm just going to double check. Okay. The anti-fatigue mats are definitely a blank saver. And lots of different things. That thing's saved, you know, as dumb as it sounds, I've dropped a tool. You know, I mean, carbide's brittle. So if it lands, it could chip, you know, and stuff. So what am I doing? Where's the kit? I need the kit. Here it is. I haven't put a cigar kit together for a long time. Jeez. It's been a while. For testing, I usually kind of steer clear of 2 blank kits, typically, just because I don't want to have to do twice the work. I'm trying to do lots of different things. And if you're testing and you have a blowout or something on one of them, one half, then the other one's completely just useless. So I don't do that a lot. I usually just use like Sierras and stuff, but I thought, let's give it a shot. This blank looked so cool, and I thought it would just be perfect with this kit. And I got lucky. This stuff, I really, to be totally honest, I really didn't think, I thought I was going to have a lot of trouble with this thing. So far, haven't really experienced that much trouble. All right, so I'm getting all my little parts laid out here. We got our finial end thing. We've got our, I don't know what they call that, transmission holder thing, nib, and our kind of center piece. So let's start with the small guy. Put our center piece in. I really need to go quite a bit higher. Let's bring this thing up here. Let's get in there. Let's get it up. And zoom you guys in a little bit. I'm really digging the drill press. Drill press pressing station. It works fabulous. It's simple. Okay, so we got that piece. I'm going to stop with that, and then we're going to put our nib in next. It's looking all right. I'm going to put our transmission piece in next. Oh, I got my glove. Shoot. We're okay. We're okay. Put our ink in, transmission on. Cigar kits are great. They can look just as good as any roller ball, as far as I'm concerned. And but they're cheap, and there's lots of different plating options and all that. You know, it's kind of a good way to go. Now I actually marked. There we go. I actually did mark the blanks. I wasn't looking at them though. It's pretty obvious, I think, which direction everything needs to go. It's not that big of a deal in this case, I don't think. So I'm just looking at it, making sure I know which way is which. I will definitely say I like the CA finish a little better. It's popping out a lot more. So I may go back and put a CA finish on the other end down the road, possibly. It's very high likelihood. All right, so I figured it out. I'm just looking to see which way I want the clip, where I want the clip to go. I've got that down. Okay. Definitely like that shininess on the end, but you know, this one's not too bad. It does look kind of funky having half of it shiny and half of it not, but again, this was for testing purposes. Oh. Hold on a minute, let me tighten up this guy. It's coming apart. Okay. Yeah. I'm digging it. All right, so let's put this guy aside. Let's do some more turning. Let's see if this wasn't just a fluke. I don't think it was. I think this stuff turns fine once you stabilize. So the next one we got is, we're going to do, all the rest of them are Sierra style. And I did, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know if I really care about the glue that I used. This one's just a blue dye stabilize that I did. So let's get this thing fired up here and turn this one up. I think I only got time for one more today. Julie's here, what's up? Yeah, that's why I did that. I'm not trying to make the most amazing pen. All we're doing is testing here. And it, like I said, I can go back and just sand off, you know, all that one side and put a finish on if I want. I'm much more interested in just seeing how this stuff works. That's all I really care about, personally. All right, so let's get our dust collector up in here. This thing's working. This thing works really good for pens. That's for certain. Get my mask on. I'm going to touch up my tool. I think what we have time for, let's turn this one, see how it goes. Like I said, I think if this thing turns as well as the other one did, I would say that we're good to go. That's a good enough amount of testing for me to say. In most cases, you should probably get perfectly good results if stabilized properly. But the one thing I do want to do today also is go back And let's put this thing back on and put some, sand it up and put some Yorkshire grit on there. I just want to see how that thing looks. A little bit of oil and wax. You guys looking, you seeing what's going on here? Okay. I'm getting some chippies. Got a few chippies on that. No biggie though, I don't think. That one definitely was a little bit more chippy than the last one on those edges. Oh, we got a pretty big chip right there. I don't know. Alright, let's switch over to the carbide because that seemed to be doing pretty good. And again, I'm using the negative rake on these. I'm not really going easy on it. You know, I mean that's working pretty good. Kind of not. I'm definitely not going easy on it this time, just to see how things go. And so far, everything's going pretty good. I was going pretty hard on that. I was really kind of zooming through and got a few little chips here and there, but I mean, for how hard I was going on that, I'd say it was pretty good. Some of these I let soak for a little bit longer in the cactus juice, and I'm not entirely certain which batch this. I want to say this one came out of the first batch that I didn't really let soak very long. The other one definitely soaked for twice as long. Let me just, I want to look at my bags. I don't know. Yeah, so this one definitely only soaked for like a couple days, maybe, something like that. Whereas that other one soaked probably for a week. So it was very saturated. I think this stuff needs longer soaking times with cactus juice. It'll give you better colors, but it'll also just stabilize it a little bit more. Because that's the thing with stabilizing. It's not a is it stabilized or not. People ask, you know, what pump do I need? And you can, I mean, technically you can just let things just sit and soak without even doing the vacuum stage, and it will be somewhat stabilized. You know, if you soak it in cactus juice and that's it, bake it. But, you know, getting it as close to perfect vacuum as possible and, you know, letting it soak for longer, you're just going to get a more stabilized wood. Or material, I should say. This isn't really wood. Got a little bit of work to do on this side. This side's pretty good though. Uh-oh, my truck's ready, I think. Sweet. Hey, what's up, Ray? How's it going, man? Let's see here. Oops. Yeah, I think my address is on my Instagram account for sure. My shipping address. All right, just I'm gonna take. I don't like the shape of this on this end. But I would have to say, I mean, that turned fine. I was really, really not giving that thing a very good time. I was going pretty hard on it. And there were a couple little chips, but I mean, it wasn't like, obviously, that was not difficult for me to get turned with no problems. So, now this one was another thing that I want to mention about the stabilizing. I think you're going to want to go with a lot more dye. I think this was just 1 ounce per gallon, and it was kind of meh, you know. But with I went all the way up to 4 ounces per gallon. Probably don't need to go that high, but a little bit more dye in your mixture I think would go good. And I also think that longer soak times is kind of the way to go. So let's switch back to, well, let me just sand this up real quick. And I want to put some CA on it just so you can kind of see what this thing's going to look like in the end. It's not going to be perfect. I just want to kind of get an idea what to expect with this here. Turn the dust collector on. Just want to kind of smooth it out a little bit and just put a little bit of CA glue on it. And that'll kind of pull out the colors a bit. Whoa. Quit attacking me, dust collector. Okay. A little bit of 120. And then a little bit of 180. One of these is 180. All right, I'm gonna finish up with 240 and then we're gonna hit it with some CA glue real quick. I'm not gonna do a full CA finish, just kind of get some on there so you can see what it'll look like approximately. Oops. All right. Like I said, just an approximation, but you know, this way you can at least see what's going on here. Get that thing out of the way. Hold everything. Hold everything. Definitely like the more vibrant colors a little bit more, but this is pretty, it's kind of an elegant thing. It's got some interesting blues in it. I kind of like that it's got some of the regular browns too. Interesting, but kind of like the vibrant colors a little bit more myself. But it turned fine. I think turning these things is not really a problem once they are well stabilized. Okay, so let's put this guy back on. Maybe. There we go. There we go. And I want to sand this guy up, and I want to see what it looks like with a little bit of that Yorkshire grit on there. All right, so let's see here. Start again. I think I sanded this. I don't know what I sanded this up to. I know I sanded it with 120, so I'm going to start at 180. We might have gone higher than this. All right. How about we get the dust collector somewhere near the thing so it collects some dust. So this was the one that was not stabilized. There's nothing going on. It's just raw, basically. And it was quite difficult turning it. It didn't go particularly amazing, but I made it through. So what I want to do is just see how this kind of untreated, hemp wood, how does it look with a little bit of, an oil wax type finish. So I'll just hit it with a little bit of Yorkshire grit. And then we got to wrap things up because I got to go get my truck from the car shop, the automotive shop. Or, well, I need to check my message to make sure that it's done. But either way, I need to get some sort of a ride home at some point today. So we're at 240 grit. We're going to go up to 600. And you could put a CA finish on top of this as well. I'm just kind of curious to see how it turns out with a little bit of, like how does it take oil in its raw form. Kind of zipping through this, so this may not be the most amazing sanding job ever, but it's close enough. Looking good. And let's do a little bit of this again. I'm not a master at this Yorkshire grit stuff. I don't usually use it, but I do like the idea of using it on just wood. I don't really like it in resin stuff. Never really got good results with any of it. Not really much advantage, so I never used it. But I do kind of like the idea of, it's got the oils, it's got some waxes in it. It's a good natural finish for wood or something natural like this. So let's, Doug said something about 250 and then let it soak in a little bit and then speed it up, I think. I don't know. A little bit more. Go a little higher. Super fast. I don't know. That looks pretty nice. Turn this dust collector off. We don't need that anymore. That's looking pretty good. What do you guys think of that? Just adds a little bit of something, Pretty cool looking. Yeah, I know it breaks down. I don't know. I know how it works. I just don't use it much. That's looking pretty good, I think. I'm digging it. All right, so let's see here. Oh, I was going 2000. It worked fine. I don't really think there's that much involved with this stuff. I don't think it makes much difference exactly how you do it on most of these woods. But I'm pretty happy with that. That's a neat looking. It's totally different. Something totally different right there. So pretty cool. But I am very happy with that one with the pen. So let me switch back to our intro view. Introduction. Let me go get the pen real quick. Yeah, I'm definitely digging this one. Yeah, now I'm really looking at this. I like the CA finish a lot better on that. It just looks a little bit better than the other, especially with it like, you know, right next to it. I don't know if this camera's going to work for us or not. The bottom just looks dull, you know. But it's really, the CA finish is really pulling out those colors a lot more. So I think what I'm going to do is I will go back, I'll take this kit apart, and I'll put that front half back on the lathe. Probably, I don't know, because I did use the Yorkshire grit on that half, just to make sure there's no waxes or anything like that. I'll probably like strip it with like an acetone or something like that, and then sand it a little bit just to kind of make sure I get all that stuff off, and then go back and put a CA finish on, and I think everything will look pretty good. That pen's going to be pretty awesome. So anyway, guys, so if you stuck around from the beginning till the end here, you know, untreated, I don't think that this stuff is very viable for turning. It just, even with dousing it, I mean, you'd have to douse it every cut, basically, you know, like douse the surface with CA glue and then take a cut lightly and then douse it. That's just not very fun. But I think if you stabilize it, and I would say that there was slightly a little bit of difference between the two that I did. I really would recommend, if you pick some of this up, probably, you know, let it soak for a long time. Give it, I think I let it soak for at least 5 days on that pen, the colorful one. So it definitely had a lot of time to absorb the maximum amount of cactus juice, and I think that this is something where you're going to be a lot better off. The other thing about it is this one, I had problems drilling. Like half of them cracked. This one I had no problems drilling, and I think it was a little bit better, let's say call it better stabilized. So a pretty cool product. You know, it takes color pretty well. I would probably go on the heavier side if you're going to use cactus juice dye, you know, in dye. I think probably the 2 ounce per gallon to maybe 3 ounce per gallon ratio is probably a good one. You know, let it vacuum for a good long time. I think I let mine go for like a day or two. So, you know, this is what I'm proper stabilizing, I think, is what is going to be necessary for this. Like, give it the maximum that you possibly can. Give it a day or two under vacuum, and then let it soak for a week. That way you're guaranteed to have the most uptake of your color and the cactus juice. And it seems like that stuff turns pretty well. So anyway, guys, I got to go pick up my truck from the shop. So I will have to get going. But we're going to be back on Friday, 3 p.m. Pacific time, normal time. Hopefully, as long as my truck's fine. And we'll do a little bit of resin casting. In fact, while I was doing the... we got a couple different things that we might do here. Rudy also gave me some, and I can't even remember what this wood was. It's something that he pulled out of the ground in California. But I got a bunch of this stuff. It's almost like wormy wood. But it's like a root kind of thing, but we got a lot of it dye stabilized, so that might be on the list. Or the other thing that I have, Frank sent in some Madrona burl chunks, and I have them somewhere. Kind of along the same lines, they were kind of cracked, And so I stabilized these guys up, and I think these would be really fun to cast. So they're stabilized, ready to go. So we'll have to figure out something, and I even have other stuff. So I'm not sure what we'll do on Friday, but we'll do a little bit of resin casting. It should be pretty fun. I appreciate everybody joining the fun tonight, seeing these tests come to life. I'll try and get that pen done sometime this week and get pictures, and I'll probably get it posted if anybody wants to buy that pen, and probably finish up the other ones and make pens out of those as well. So be looking for those. I'll try and post pics on Instagram when I get things finished up, and we'll definitely get them up on my website when they're ready to rock. So have a great night, guys, and I will see you guys all on the next live stream.